See the official documents here. Numerous media outlets, from CNN to the Washington Post, have accused Trump either explicitly or implicitly of having ties to Russia, and they always use unnamed sources to back up their claims. What if, however, a named source came out and revealed FBI documents proving, without a doubt, that Hillary Clinton had accepted millions from Russia while she was Secretary of State? Unfortunately for her, they just did. Conspiracy theorists such as Alex Jones, Paul Joseph Watson, and Mark Dice, have long suggested that Hillary Clinton received millions in exchange for her signing off on a deal which would give Moscow control over a large portion of American uranium. For many years these claims were merely theories, but after FBI documents were just released, these theories may become proven fact. Newly released documents show that the FBI had been investigating Russian nuclear officials as early as 2009, after discovering that they were engaged in bribery, extortion, and other shady activities on U.S. soil. Federal agents used undercover agents to gather audio recordings, paper records, and emails, which showed Russia had done these things, in violation of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. Even worse, the FBI had obtained eyewitness accounts and physical documents, indicating that Russian nuclear officials had routed millions of dollars as a donation to the Clinton Foundation. Yet rather than bringing the charges to light, the FBI permitted then-Secretary of State Hillary Clinton to sign off on the controversial deal, which many have argued was unfairly generous to Putin. The Hill reports that this entire scheme was conducted with the consent of higher-level officials in Russia who shared in some of the profits from said bribery. Many Americans are left wondering how the Clinton Foundation has not been investigated yet, and whether or not President Trump will remain true on his promise to throw her in jail. Federal agents used a confidential U.S. witness working inside the Russian nuclear industry to gather extensive financial records, make secret recordings and intercept emails as early as 2009 that showed Moscow had compromised an American uranium trucking firm with bribes and kickbacks in violation of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, FBI and court documents show. They also obtained an eyewitness account, backed by documents, indicating Russian nuclear officials had routed millions of dollars to the U.S. designed to benefit former President Bill Clinton's charitable foundation during the time Secretary of State Hillary Clinton served on a government body that provided a favorable decision to Moscow, sources told The Hill. Rather than bring immediate charges in 2010, however, the Department of Justice, DOJ, continued investigating the matter for nearly 4 more years, essentially leaving the American public and Congress in the dark about Russian nuclear corruption on U.S. soil during a period when the Obama administration made 2 major decisions benefiting Putin's commercial nuclear ambitions. The Obama administration and the Clintons defended their actions at the time, insisting there was no evidence that any Russians or donors engaged in wrongdoing and there was no national security reason for any member of the committee to oppose the Uranium One deal. But FBI, Energy Department and court documents reviewed by The Hill show the FBI in fact had gathered substantial evidence well before the committee's decision that Vadim Mikharin, the main Russian overseeing Putin's nuclear expansion inside the United States, was engaged in wrongdoing starting in 2009. As part of the scheme, Mikharin, with the consent of higher-level officials at 10X and Rosatom, both Russian state-owned entities, would offer no-bid contracts to U.S. businesses in exchange for kickbacks in the form of money payments made to some offshore bank accounts, Agent David Garden testified. Mikharin apparently then shared the proceeds with other co-conspirators associated with 10X in Russia and elsewhere, the federal agent added. The investigation was led by then U.S. Attorney Rod Rosenstein, an Obama appointee who is now serving as President Trump's Deputy Attorney General. This same man who allowed Russia to knowingly bribe, extort, and backstab their way to having a powerful nuclear arsenal, is now in charge of investigating the alleged collusion between Donald Trump and Russian officials during his presidential campaign. Many Americans have urged President Trump to give him the boot and hire someone more trustworthy. FBI investigation also revealed a serious national security breach. After reviewing leaked documents, emails, testimonies, and phone calls, it was revealed that Russian nuclear officials had given a contract to an American trucking firm, in which they transported pounds upon pounds of Russia's uranium throughout the United States, a clear security issue. The case also exposed a serious national security breach. Micron had given a contract to an American trucking firm called Transport Logistics International that held the sensitive job of transporting Russia's uranium around the United States in return for more than $2 million in kickbacks from some of its executives, court records show. One of Micron's former employees told the FBI that 10X officials in Russia specifically directed the scheme to allow for padded pricing to include kickbacks, agents testified in one court filing. Bringing down a major Russian nuclear corruption scheme that had both compromised a sensitive uranium transportation asset inside the U.S. and facilitated international money laundering would seem a major feather in any law enforcement agency's cap. But the Justice Department and FBI took little credit in 2014 when Micron, the Russian financier, and the trucking firm executives were arrested and charged. The only public statement occurred an entire year later when the Justice Department put out a little-noticed press release in August 2015, just days before Labor Day. The release noted that the various defendants had reached plea deals. Many conservative Americans have criticized the Obama administration for allowing such reckless corruption to run rampant under its nose. Still, many FBI officials claim they were left in the dark, which wouldn't be surprising. Cases involving large sums of money, foreign influence, and internal corruption are often conducted in the shadows. Even so, Ronald Hosko, who served as the assistant FBI director in charge of criminal investigations when the investigation was underway, told The Hill that he did not recall ever being briefed about Micron's case by the counterintelligence side of the Bureau, despite the criminal charges that were being brought forth. "I had no idea this case was being conducted," he said in an interview. As these documents have come to light, many political commentators have demanded justice. Whether or not the men and women overseeing this corruption are thrown in prison remains to be seen, but one thing is for certain: in the digital age, where information spreads faster than ever before, the truth can't stay hidden for long. What do you think of the Hillary Clinton bribery accusations? Why did the FBI refuse to investigate the Clinton Foundation? Did Hillary accept bribes from Russia? We want to hear your voice. Thank you for watching this video. What do you think about this? Share this on Facebook and Twitter along with your comments.